In this podcast episode, Aaron Rodgers, a former NFL player, joins Tucker Carlson to discuss a wide range of topics, from his personal experiences and views on current events to deeper societal issues. The discussion starts with a news story about scientists developing a vaccine that could potentially protect against a broad range of coronaviruses, including unknown varieties. Rodgers and Carlson question the effectiveness of such a vaccine and whether people would be willing to take it. They delve into the divisive nature of the current situation regarding vaccines, with Rodgers expressing a desire to bring people together with compassion and kindness. He reflects on his own combative approach in the past and emphasizes the importance of empathy towards those who may have been misled or fearful. Rodgers acknowledges the fear and shame experienced by individuals who got vaccinated but now have doubts or regrets. He highlights the different reactions people have towards the vaccine, from defiance to regret to fear and shame. They discuss the power dynamics at play, with Rodgers pointing out the influence of money from Big Pharma in pushing for vaccine mandates. He shares insights into the pressure faced by NFL players to get vaccinated and the consequences for those who chose not to. The topic of censorship and free speech arises, with Rodgers and Carlson discussing the dangers of silencing dissenting opinions. They explore the slippery slope of censorship and the importance of allowing diverse perspectives to be heard. The conversation delves into the challenges of maintaining democracy and the potential for it to devolve into fascism and tyranny. They reflect on the entitlement and division that can erode the fabric of society, leading to a loss of individual voices and a rise in narcissism. They touch on the shift in focus from external enemies to viewing American citizens as the enemy. Rodgers shares his observations from attending the Kentucky Derby and witnessing the energy of the federal government being directed towards its own people. He delves into his interest in questioning official narratives, citing his high school report on JFK and his skepticism towards the Warren Commission's findings. He also touches on the suspicious circumstances surrounding the death of Pat Tillman, a former NFL player who joined the Army and was killed by friendly fire. He emphasizes the importance of standing up against corruption and speaking out against injustices, even if it means facing backlash from the media and critics. The conversation shifts to Rodgers' experience with plant-based medicine, specifically psychedelics like ayahuasca and psilocybin mushrooms. He shares how these substances have had a profound impact on his life, leading to increased empathy, compassion, and a deeper sense of self-love. Despite facing criticism for his use of plant medicine, he remains steadfast in his belief in their healing properties and transformative effects. Rodgers shares his experience with a 30-day Ayurvedic diet where he consumed mostly rice, lentils, and vegetables. He explains how this diet helped reset his body, alleviating allergies, indigestion, and irritable bowel syndrome. Additionally, he talks about his experience with a darkness retreat, where he spent 5 nights in total darkness. He describes the hallucinations and contemplations that arose during this intense experience, noting that it was a transformative process for him. The conversation continues with Carlson discussing his interview with Vladimir Putin in Russia. He reflects on the backlash he received for the interview, with many labeling him as a Putin apologist. However, he defends the interview, praising Putin for his intelligence, thoughtfulness, and ability to discuss the history of his country in a nuanced manner. He contrasts this with the lack of transparency and accountability in American politics, calling for more open and honest conversations from leaders like Joe Biden. The conversation shifts to the importance of voting with one's dollar and supporting companies that prioritize ethical practices. Rodgers emphasizes the significance of food as medicine and the impact of diet on overall health. He discusses the deceptive labeling of certain food products and the presence of harmful chemicals in popular brands like Oreos, Lucky Charms, and Gatorade. He advocates for a diet rich in protein and healthy fats, highlighting the benefits of fasting as a way to reset the body. Rodgers delves into the topic of psychedelics, sharing his views on their potential therapeutic benefits. He mentions his interest in exploring different states of consciousness and the healing properties of substances like DMT. He reflects on his experience with meditation and contemplation during the darkness retreat, noting the profound insights and healing that occurred during this time of introspection. The conversation touches on the issue of fake vaccination cards in the NFL, with Rodgers expressing his concerns about the ethical implications of such actions. He discusses the importance of transparency and honesty in the face of the COVID-19 pandemic, emphasizing the need for individuals to take responsibility for their health and well-being. He also addresses the controversy surrounding vaccine mandates and the role of personal choice in medical decisions. Rodgers shares his thoughts on the death of Jeffrey Epstein and the conspiracy theories surrounding the circumstances of his passing. He reflects on the complexities of power and corruption, highlighting the need for accountability and transparency in all aspects of society. He expresses his admiration for individuals like Julian Assange and Edward Snowden, who have risked their lives to expose government corruption and uphold the principles of freedom of speech. Rodgers also talks about his fame and how it has impacted his life. He mentions how he values his privacy and how being famous was not something he signed up for. He discusses the challenges of being in the spotlight and how he has learned to navigate through it by focusing on doing what he enjoys and finding humor in certain situations. The conversation shifts to Rodgers' career in the NFL and his thoughts on retirement. He reflects on his 25 years in football and expresses his desire to take a step back, relax, and potentially start a family. He talks about the importance of sharing his failures with younger players to help them avoid making the same mistakes he did. The topic of CTE, chronic traumatic encephalopathy, is also discussed, with Rodgers acknowledging the dangers of the sport and the importance of prioritizing player safety. He shares insights into the challenges faced by retired NFL players, including financial struggles and marital issues, and emphasizes the need for better support systems for transitioning players. Rodgers delves into the concept of truth and transparency, expressing his belief that governments should disclose all information they have to the public. He speculates on the potential impact of full disclosure, suggesting that people may be overwhelmed and disgusted by the truths revealed about various historical events and societal structures. He touches upon the lack of disclosure regarding the JFK files and the UFO phenomenon, highlighting the need for transparency and the crumbling of structures built on trust in the government. He mentions the reluctance to release certain information, such as the JFK files, which have been withheld for decades. The discussion shifts towards the role of the media in shaping public perception and the lack of trust in traditional news sources. Rodgers highlights the influence of social media platforms like Twitter in shaping public discourse and the need for deeper, more meaningful conversations. He acknowledges the shift towards seeking deeper connections and conversations that go beyond surface-level interactions. Rodgers reflects on his personal journey towards seeking depth and connection in conversations, attracting like-minded individuals who are also eager for meaningful discussions. He emphasizes the importance of empathy, compassion, and understanding in engaging with people who may hold different beliefs or perspectives. He shares his experiences of engaging in deep conversations with individuals who have differing views, highlighting the value of finding common ground and fostering understanding.